Great book.
Grow the Grass. You said that's a great book. I think I've heard of it, Jim or John.
Well, there's a couple of them. I got them both over here. I'll get them.
Hey, Doug, your little, I'm sorry, I have to take care of how to say this. Your little round balls are on our table. We're having fun with them.
Good. Cool. They're just the right size to play with, aren't they?
Yeah, Lynn was surprised. She said, "How do you get them so round?" I said, "Hey, he's an engineer, and he assured me it was within 1,000th of an inch or something, or was it 2,000? So.
2/10.
2/10.
No, 2,000s. No, 200s.
If I do a little slideshow, I'm going to show you how to get them so to show around in brief.
Oh, okay.
Here's David Spring. It's 2 books. I think there's a third one as well, but these are the 2 I have. These are great books. Wizardry is about hollow boxes and crazy shit like that, turning balls within balls, and this one is about these kinds of what does he call them anyway? Streptohedrons, twisted forms.
Oh, yeah.
He's a terrific inventor.
John, I want you to know my wife is pretty sharp. I said one way you can check whether round is cut a chunk of PVC pipe off and hold it over. And she said, "Are you sure PVC pipe is completely round?" I said, "Well, I think it's pretty round."
Yeah, it's pretty round. So CD cases are pretty square too, if you're looking for a quickie square.
Oh, really? CD? What's a CD? I'm sorry.
There's that.
PVC. You know what I use? Instead of buying these expensive rubberized things to prop your stuff up in your workbench, I have stacks and stacks of CD cases, and I just throw a couple of those down on each end, and it works. You don't have to buy it from Rockler. So.
Yeah. Good morning, Barry.
There you go. Jim. That's your turning tip of the day, is it, Jim?
No, that's not about turning.
Oh.
The only thing my lathe has been used for in the last couple of weeks is to hold some heating duct elbows.
That's not okay. You can't do that. Put them on the table saw. That's where they belong.
No,
that's right.
My lathe is right there.
Put them on the table saw. Don't put them on the lathe. You won't be able to see the lathe after a while.
And then
the table saw is a flatter surface,
Yeah.
Well, but these things are only 6 inches round. That's the other thing that's happening here.
Put them on the lathe. It's the iron law of surfaces, in the house. If there's a little table with nothing on it, it'll stay that way until somebody puts 1 key down or a penny. And then the table, kaboom.
A horizontal filing is the best surfaces there are for filing stuff. So.
Yeah, my whole office life was stacks of stuff, and I always knew where stuff was. But, I also observed that once something got in a stack, it rarely left. So.
I had a friend who was very particular about his desk, and every time he visited, he was a producer I worked with. He said, "Jim, I'll clean your desk off for you." I said, "Don't you dare touch it. I won't find anything after you're done with it."
I had secretaries like that once, too. Jesus Christ. What a nightmare. Who's CDC4C? Is that Dilo?
Yes. Hi, good morning.
When you want to change your name to your actual name, do you know how to do that, or can I do it for you?
You can do that for me.
Is it Dave Dilo? Is that right?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
And Dave, where are you from?
Pittsburgh area.
Hey.
Dave picked us up on the forum. I've been posting video clips on the forum, and every so often somebody comes along and says, "Hey, can I join this?" And I say, "Of course you can."
I worked for Channel 11 many, many years in my working days, but I wasn't based in Pittsburgh. I was based in Harrisburg for them. So.
Where exactly in Pittsburgh are you?
I live in Ambridge, which is Beaver County.
Yeah, my son lives over the river across from in Aliquippa.
Oh, yes.
And that was my second church that I served was in Aliquippa many years ago.
Yeah, how about that? That's great.
Ron Sheehan,
Hello.
are you willing to stay on for a few minutes after?
Yes.
I'd like you to practice sharing with me.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're ready for the club meeting in May.
Yeah, well, I did run that video the other day, club meeting, to try it out, but no, it was last week, I guess. But anyway, I don't know what happened that one time I tried, it didn't work.
Well, I can help you get it so we see your picture bigger without all the furniture around it and stuff like that.
Hello.
Hello, Kai.
Hey,
Is
Hey,
the,
Kai. Hello, John.
Good morning,
the-
Kathy.
is the
Hey.
sun shining in Germany? We need some sunshine. It's rainy and cloudy here.
It's a bit mixed here. We have quite cold weather at the moment, but it's sunny sometimes and cloudy sometimes. So it's April weather. In Germany, they say the April does what it wants. So you get a mix of warm and cold weather and rain, and we even had a little snowstorm last week. So everything.
Just like Pennsylvania.
April
You
is
say April showers bring May flowers.
Okay.
April is the cruelest month.
It's supposed to be nice after March, but it just isn't. Yeah.
Two of my children have birthdays in early April. One today, as a matter of fact. And I remember when they were kids, we would plan outdoor birthday parties and then freeze to death every time, year after year.
That was before COVID, right?
Yeah. And good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
This is
Morning.
Lancaster area Woodturners Coffee Hour number 53. And at number 53, it marks that we did this for a full year, and we're starting our second year here today. I find that quite astonishing since, as all of you know, this began purely as a way of teaching some of these old geezers how to find their microphone and turn on Zoom. And just kind of went on from there.
You've done a remarkable job.
How many of you guys have been here from the beginning? Well, that's sweet. That's why this thing has worked, is you guys have come on every week and brought your stuff and showed your stuff and taken your lumps and figured out how to screen share. It's just been a marvelous show of friendly participation. I don't know if things like this are going on in other AAW clubs. I kind of hope so, but you know. Today I thought, since it is an anniversary, and that I did not prepare any entertainment except a small slideshow that I'm going to give you myself. And I'm going to go around the screen. I have quite a few people who I know have things to show, and we're going to get as many of them on as we can. And if I come to the end of it, I'll ask for more, but I'm going to go with the people I already know about, and not quite a few of you. And we'll chew our way down through it. I'm going to, just as a real quickie, show you a slideshow, if that's okay. Yeah? Okay. Share my screen. There, now do you see the ball?
oh,
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. That's a 2 and 9/16 inch hollow ball that I made. You can see the seam around it in the green match. This is great.
It has a crack in it.
Pardon?
There's a crack around the center.
Yeah, it's got a crack around the center. It could have used a little more sanding too.
Big thing is is there any crack in it?
No, there it is. There it is open.
Looks pretty thin.
Yeah, it's about a 16th, and I'll show you how I got there in a minute.
Wow.
This is a piece of Coca-Cola being made into a ball. The inside's been flanges there, and I just push it onto this little jam chuck where it just happens to just nicely fit, and then I tape it on with electrical tape. And when I do that, I find I can turn the outside very, very stably. 2 wraps of electrical tape pulled tight seems to hold almost anything in place. That's my 2 and 9/16 outside template on the ball. There are more work on the inside of a ball. So I had made the outside. I made a jam chuck, and I was amazed. It just pressed in there perfect, and I could work on the inside. And I managed to get it to do that 2, even 3 times before it wouldn't do it anymore. So it's like you can get it just right like that. And I was really surprised at that, but it's quite possible. There's the templates. On the right is the piece of paper that generated the templates. I made a drawing in my computer that I can enlarge and reduce that shows how the two halves fit together. Then the inside template, which is this one, and the outside template, which is this one, and the outside octagon template, which is where you start. And I found this is the reference where I'm trying to go, and these are the templates on the piece of paper. And I found I could enlarge and reduce that to get any size ball I want. And then I print it out on the same cardstock that you use to send you your membership badges. Or else I print it out on artist paper, watercolor paper. I also spent a bunch of time this week organizing my wood, ha ha ha. So I wanted just to show you that just as many of you are complete lunatics with racks and racks and piles of wood around the shop, I am too. This is just one of about 4 rolling. I used to be in the book business, and we used these rolling racks to move books around. Well, now I use them to stash blocks of wood. That's one rack. There's another one that's right next to it. All kinds of pear wood turning blanks down there, an awful lot of cherry and, like that. There's another one. I reorganized this to get, this is all jam chucks, and this is all already pre-turned cylinders, and this is little wee blocks I don't know what to do with, and I haven't got to any of this down here yet. And then here's a pile of logs. I can't help it. It's what it is.
We're all alike.
I think we are. And these are Bradford pear blossoms in my yard. This is the best time of year for pear blossoms, and I have a row of these that are slowly dying, so every couple of years I get a new pear tree to massacre. And finally, this is the template drawing that I will put in the chat this week for anybody who wants it. So that's my slideshow. Okay, now who wants to go next? How about you, Garrel? You got a little video, I think, if you're up.
I have about an 8.5-minute video, yes.
Did I end the share correctly? Are you all back to gallery view?
I am. I'm ready to share.
You go ahead and share.
You see me full screen there? My shop?
We got it.
Okay. Little backstory. I'm a retired industrial arts technology education instructor, teacher, whatever, and lived in and taught in Ohio for a number of years. After retirement, family and I moved back to my wife's home place in West Virginia, and that's where we are right now in Kaiser. And I never really had a facility to park my vehicles or to work in a shop other than the school shop. So now I do. So let's just see how this plays.
This is part of my shop complex. This is what we call the upper garage. This is the lower garage.
Yikes, Gerald.
The part that's the shop is about 832 square feet, 26 by 32, and it's attached to the 2 garages. I'm standing in the upper garage. This is the way I usually access the shop. Note that the back end of the truck can be backed up to the sliding door or the sliding door opening, and I can unload materials from here.
Thanks.
Even though I have radiant floor heat, being the frugal person that I am, I normally heat the garage or the shop, the whole structure, with wood. As we walk into the shop, to the right is my large grizzly. I'll just pan across. Battery powered equipment, storage containers, The green cloth serves as my backdrop for my green screen. Table saw with an extension table.
Is that a thickness sander over there too?
It is.
Most of the pieces of equipment
So
that
16 to
require
32.
dust collection are housed in the middle of the shop. And I just have one horsepower dust collector that I then attach to each individual piece of equipment. 8-inch joiner, 16 by 32 belt sander, drum sander, I'm sorry. 15-inch planer, 18-inch bandsaw, 8-foot benches on each side of my radial arm saw. Smaller band saws and a scroll saw. 5 smaller lathes.
Let me just add that the reason for the number of lathes that I have is that Mark and Judy and I and one other gentleman work with some drug and alcohol rehab people, and we've had them here in the shop. As a matter of fact, one weekend here we had 15 people in the shop turning.
Oscillating drum sander, disc sander, and shaper. The outfeed table for my table saw also serves as a workstation, especially for sanding. And if you notice, the backdrop has now been set into place. The funnel shape allows for the collection of dust chips when either routing or sanding on the outfeed table. Since I do have such a small dust collector, I can only hook up one machine at a time. And I use this lengthy hose to attach to the different machines and to take up space for the hose, and I hang it from this contraption, for lack of another term, on the ceiling. The room has, or the shop here has 72 LED lights, so I have plenty of illumination. The overhead dust system helps with some of the dust in the shop.
What I want to know is how you shop teacher guys always have such a clean floor in your shop.
Lathe tool storage.
This past summer was a complete renovation. I ended up taking everything out, painting the walls, painting the floor, and it's beginning to scuff up a little now.
Oh, so in other words, you haven't made a mess in there yet.
Oh, yes. It's been cleaned.
I was going to comment, there's something wrong with that shop. There's no dust on the floor and there's no chips anywhere.
My wife's a good vacuum in her.
More stock underneath the work table. The swing on the grizzly lathe is 22 inch.
Wow.
I have 2 mini lathes that have a 10-inch swing and 3 12-inch lathes. Desk with the computer set up, creating videos. This was just a recent addition to the shop. These 2 cabinets for storage of material. More lathe tools hanging on the wall. Notice most of the tools are vacant from the building or for the shop. I keep most of them in drawers and cabinets. Keeps the dust off of them. More turning stock storage.
See, John, looks familiar, right?
Okay. You're neater than me.
Small Harbor Freight metal lathe. Drill press. A 12-inch Sheldon machinist lathe. Cut-off saw. Miscellaneous. Usher. MIG welder.
You haven't
Behind the
determined
MIG
by now
welder
I'm
is
a tool nut.
spray system, HVLP, stick welder, couple vacuums, oxyacetylene welder, brake, and an arbor press. Most of the pieces of equipment in the shop are on casters and can be moved around, so I can change things up whenever I need to. Still here in the upper garage. Have a little kitchenette. And soon to have a bathroom through that door.
Where's the sofa?
Couple sandblasters
Don't
over
have
on
one.
the far
No
wall.
time to sit.
And you can see the air lines and drop down hose in all the rooms. The lower garage, we house a couple of our toys. I think there are 5 four-wheelers in here. My son's a collector, as you can see. Another stick welder, parts cleaner.
Okay, one thing that I didn't mention was that after I retired, I ended up doing antique furniture restoration. Did that for a number of years. So that was one of the reasons for the shop configuration of this.
I was just, I have one question. What's your favorite finish?
My favorite finish, in
You
doing
seem to have a lot to choose from.
the antique restoration turned me on to Watco. Not to Watco, but to Formby's tongue oil.
Wow. Man, I just noticed an awful lot of finishes there. It's just, you tried an awful lot. You could write an article on different finishes.
Yeah.
I found that was most impressive, Gerald, and I'm always envious of you industrial arts guys who actually managed to sweep the floor up and vacuum it up. I know Ray Simmons is that kind of guy, and I suspect Kai is too. I'm sure he is.
Gerald makes us pass inspection before he lets us leave after working there.
Yeah, Judy and Mark were both over last week and made a few chips.
Very amazing. Thank you very much. Any questions for Gerald?
I want to see it after he works in it and has a few chips and dust around. So.
I'll bet.
Well, it pretty much looks the same right now.
I was going to say, industrial arts, you're used to picking up or getting students to clean up the shop ready for the next class, aren't you?
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's really fastidious.
It's astonishing to me.
Gerald, is there a house in the midst of all those shops?
In the shops, but just adjacent to the shop.
Yeah.
The house is probably 12 shops, so from the garage.
Looks like you're pretty well equipped if you get tossed out of the house, you know.
Moving a couch and a bed, yes, I am.
It only takes a day to build a bed, so you'll be all right. So.
I'm going to go to a couple guys who I know have new toys to show. Kai, I understand you have a new sandblaster.
So yeah, first I want to thank John for coming up with the Zoom meetings for wood turning clubs. And in Germany, we started 8 months ago having our monthly club meeting with the Zoom, and we have between the monthly club meetings, we have 3 other smaller meetings like the morning coffee hour, and sometimes Harvey is a guest at our meetings. And I know of at least another 3 clubs who have Zoom meetings in Germany now as well. So it's spreading. And that all thanks to an article that you wrote in the American Woodturner sometime last year before the summer, I think. So thanks a lot.
Well, you're welcome. We've done everything we can to promote this because it's fun.
Yeah. So that's what we think as well in Germany, and we really have fun. So now let's try to share what I want to show you.
Share the screen.
So, okay, and that should start now. Yeah. Can you see the PowerPoint presentation?
We got it.
Yes.
Okay. I want to show 2 things. First, a shaving set. Because when we had that meeting with Mike Dowlow, we talked about utilitarian turnings, and I just wanted to show that. That's the shaving set, and I was a bit unhappy with the shaving soap or cream you can buy in Germany. First, I bought it in metal containers, metal tube-like containers, but then they changed to plastic containers. And I thought, I thought it's not a good idea to add all this plastic waste to the environment. So I was looking for another shaving soap or shaving cream, and remembered my grandfather who used these shaving soap sticks. I guess you have them in America as well, or in the States?
Yeah.
Yeah. And they come in little cardboard boxes, and it's nearly no waste. The only drawback is that they only have a little plastic cylinder at the bottom for you to hold it, and that's very uncomfortable. And so I thought, okay, I will turn a holder for the soap stick. And once I started doing that, I thought, okay, it would be nice to have a complete shaving set. So I took a factory-made shaver and removed the plastic and metal handle, or at least most of it, and turned another wooden handle for it, or new one. And also I bought a brush and removed the plastic handle and turned a new one. And I made a little holder for the brush to hang. So that's the shaving set, and I've been using it for some time now, and it works really nice. So you can have fun with these utilitarian things as well. And that's just a close-up of the stick holder. I put a screw in here, and I drilled a little hole into the soap so that it holds in the middle and also on the outside, and that's working very nicely. So, okay, that was the first little project. And then my new toy is a sandblasting cabinet. And I turned that little bowl about, I think, 4 inches in diameter with a wide rim and sandblasted it. And then I also, I turned the bottom round, or the back round, and I also colored it. So to enhance the sandblasting a little bit. And that what it looks on the other side. So that was my first ever sandblasted bowl I made. And then I also made a pendant about a bit less than 2 inches in diameter, and carved it first with a Dremel tool and sanded it a little bit, and then I sandblasted it, and then I colored it with black acrylic paint and golden acrylic paint. Okay, and that's the sandblasting setup. It has got a special edition, the cabinet, so that it can be used with small compressors. Because I haven't got space for a big compressor in my workshop, I built this edition, and then now it can be used with my smaller compressor, and it also has a very precise nozzle, so you can work very nicely on small objects. If that is for an interest, how that works technically, I can show it another time if you're interested. Also, I have some more photos of the shaving set. If that's of interest, I could show them sometime. Okay, so that's my projects for today.
Okay. Are you using glass beads or carborundum powder for your media?
It's actually kind of glass powder, very fine glass powder that I use at the moment.
Yeah. And we generally try to put 120 pounds per square inch. I don't know what that is in European.
Okay, you mean the pressure you need?
Yeah.
Yeah. With my compressor, the pressure is not that much of a problem. It's the amount of air it can supply. That's the problem there. And I learned that there are two systems for these sandblasting units. One is a system that sucks the sand out of a container, for example, or the bottom of your sandblasting cabinet, and then mixes it with air and then blows it out of the nozzle. And in this system, a lot of air is needed for the suction process to get the sand into the sandblasting pistol, I think, the handpiece. And with the system I have got, the sand is put in a pressure vessel or in a container, and then the air is blown into this container and mixes with the sand, and it has got an outlet, and a sand-air mixture comes out of this outlet and goes straight through a hose to the nozzle. And for this system, you need less air, or a smaller amount of air per second or minute. And that's why it works with smaller compressors as well.
What pressure are you, Kai? I'll convert it for you. What pressure do you use?
About 4 bar.
Okay, that's about 60 PSI.
Yeah, that's not high because most systems want 80 at the nozzle.
I'm gonna cut this off right here because this is a topic for another time when we were going to go into sandblasting in some detail and sort all that out. I want to stay with the program here and get around to as many people as we can this morning. Is that okay with you all?
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Thank you, Kai. I enjoyed seeing that. And I also know that Barry has a new toy. Barry, can you show us your new toy pretty quick?
I didn't take a picture of it. No, I'm sorry. I was going to do a video of me cutting tool steel with it. I texted you yesterday. When I bought the bandsaw, and it's a 17-inch Grizzly variable speed with a high range and a low range. On the low range, you can run it down to about 85 feet per minute, which is extremely slow. And I bought a bimetal. I bought a real nice blade for it and everything, because on the cutting chart, it does say you can cut high-speed steel. It turns out that the high-speed steel they're talking about is pre-heat treated high-speed steel. And the stuff that I have at my house here is stuff I bought from Amazon or other places, but they ship it as Rockwell 62 to Rockwell 68 hardness. And so it's kind of like, I don't know, trying to scratch glass with glass. It just does not cut. It does do a good job on cast iron, aluminum, and regular steel, thin and thick. And I didn't do a video of it, but I did a resaw on a 12-inch wide piece of cherry. The resaw fence, you can't rely on it just because if the blade is not under the ideal tension, I suppose, you get some blade drift as you resaw. So I have to make a nose piece, a vertical nose piece that the wood rests against that you can adjust to make sure you're staying on your cut line. But overall, it did a pretty good job on slicing an 1/8-inch thick slice off a 12-inch wide by about 2-foot cherry board.
So
I
you're
can video it for next week and show it then.
so you're okay. I like that. You're happy with your new saw. That's what I wanted to hear.
Yeah. In hindsight, if I would say if anybody is looking to buy a upgraded saw, unless they cut metal, don't buy the variable speed. Simple reason, in cutting wood, so far I have not found a reason to lower it from the maximum of 3,600 feet per minute.
Yeah.
For cutting metal, you absolutely have to have variable speed for the thickness and kind of metal. But
there's no advantage in cutting wood to variable speed, I don't believe.
no, not that I can see. And you'd save like $400, I think, if you buy in my case, the Grizzly Extreme 17-inch, but without variable speed.
Yeah.
So it's wood only. That would be my advice.
Okay. Comments, questions before I move on? Okay. Jeff Carroll, you said you had something you wanted to show. What do you got? Unmute yourself.
I have a live edge piece I turned. It's spalted maple.
You turned a lot of air there.
Yeah, I did.
It's a beautiful piece. Now, how was that to turn all that air and keep the bark on? Was it easy?
Fairly easy. You just have to be real gentle and take off small amounts at the time, but just keep turning. But
now you're down there in the Carolinas, yeah?
Yes.
What club do you belong to? What's your home club?
Wilmington Area Woodturners Association.
Do you guys do any video stuff?
The monthly meetings are video, but they haven't done any coffee hours or anything. They run some clinics like one Saturday a month, and it's open to 8 or 10 people. That has continued. So we are doing some in-person clinics, but just with a few members that say you have to pre-register for them. So
cool. Okay. That was a very nice poll. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Tom White, you there? Unmute yourself, please.
Okay.
Tom showed us something at Susquehanna the other night that I wanted to come back to because only a couple of you guys were there. So let's see what you got, Tom.
Well, this came under the heading of showing problem tools, and I wanted to show some of the tools that I made several years ago that turned out to be one of the more frustrating projects I ever came across. This was things that in the David Springett's book, Wood Turning Wizardry, where you turn discs that have concentric circles on 2 sides of a piece of wood, similar to this, where you have concentric circles on this side and opposed concentric circles on the opposite side, and you make a base thing to turn them on with screws and stuff. And as you can see here, somewhere along the line, it broke. And that pretty much happened to all the pieces I made. The idea is to turn halfway through the disc on one side and another halfway through the disc on the other side. And then the little bit of wood that's left to support the concentric rings is left over, and it breaks. So I have a whole box of failures here.
Show us the tool you're using.
I produced, in the book, he suggests making your own tools, which is basically you can't buy anything like this on the market. But these are two of the tools that I made. This one I made from a boring bit, and you can see at the tip is about 1/8 of an inch wide and 1/4 of an inch long, and it has a slight bevel at the end. And I tried that for one of the things, and since pieces started to break a lot, I thought, well, okay, I'll try something different. So I made this one out of a tool that I found on a sale table at a wood show. That's it's actually a Craftsman gouge. I think it's maybe 50 years old or something. But I decided to sacrifice this and try it. You can see, actually, you can see where it's overheated and burned at the tip. And that didn't work very much better at all. So after I went through I have a whole box of these little failures, I decided to sacrifice one of the Sorby mini tools for the Sorby handle. And I ground the tips down with a Dremel tool by hand. It may have been a little bit more accurate with some sort of a machine grinder, but that's about the best I could do by hand. And it just, nothing seemed to work as well as I wanted it to. Maybe it was just a matter of my patience ran out. But those are the tools that I made. And
as I thought the other night, everything I've seen done that way is either an ebony or boxwood, which are woods that behave a lot like plastic.
Well, I use several kinds of wood. Now this piece is walnut on this side, and I think spalted maple on the other side, and it was moderately successful. But part of the one edge broke out on that one also, and I'm not sure what happened here. But I tried sandwiching pieces to show some sort of a contrast on either side of the piece. And maybe I just don't have enough patience. I don't know, but nothing seemed to work.
Well,
I also thought about using those tools for some sort of embellishment like this, which is the top of something, perhaps a box maybe. But as I said, it's probably one of the more frustrating things I've done. And I have a whole box full of failures. There's a pretty nifty one right there.
I'm going to go back to the gallery view and see anybody's got any advice for you. I know that some of us have done that. Ernie's got his hand up. I know Ron's got something to say. Go ahead, Ernie.
Well, I agree with John. You need to do these in very favorable woods that behave like plastic. But are you putting clearance in the edges of that tool that is, I don't have no, but are the sides of the tool like this rather than straight up and down?
Well, they were as parallel as I could get them. They're not tapered at the sides.
They need to be
slightly tapered.
What you call clearance under the edge. So only the edge is touching, because you will get an interaction to the side of that on the heel of the bevel that is causing that to do wonky things. The other thing that it's common to do is you learn, one, to put a little bit back so that it's maybe 1/2 degree aside, but as you go further in, the side isn't dragging as much behind, and you have a little more leeway to steer the piece. And the third thing is that you learn, if it isn't back tapered, to just move it back and forth a 1/64 of an inch as you cut, so that you're always leaving a curve a little bigger than the tool.
One of the things I remember doing was, as I made the groove in the wood, twisting the tool with my wrist a tiny bit to widen the kerf slightly more than the width of the tool, but it still eventually broke. So I think my patience just ran out.
Well, you'd be bringing the tool up on its corner there, and it would be in a wonky situation. again, if you put, you would actually want to put more clearance on the right-hand side than you would on the left, because you have a different circle there.
Yeah.
So I believe your problem is clearance on the tool.
Ernie, are you talking about making the forward edge wider and the narrowing it to the back, or the other way around?
Yeah, forward wider.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So you have some room at the back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get that, what he said there at the beginning.
Yeah. That allows you to steer the tool better too. That you change this ever so slightly, you get away with it.
I was thinking if I was going to make that, I'd make the length of the cutting bit just the depth that I wanted, so that when the shoulder of the tool where it widens out came when I knew I was at full depth too. I think I'd try that, but I'm not sure if it would work. But that's what it would make.
May I just show a picture to illustrate Ernie's point?
Sure, you got one.
Can you see that?
Yep.
Yes.
So that's what Ernie said. You have to get some relief on the sides.
Yeah.
So that if you do a gap, it doesn't bite on the left and on the right. So that should help.
I agree.
Okay.
I agree. Yep. Okay. Let's see. Joe Cap, what do you got? We haven't heard from you in a long time.
I got two pieces. I was out at the apple orchard with my wife, and they were selling trimmings off the tree. And I bought a box. My son told me that I wasted my money.
Bring it back closer to your face, to you. Yeah, that's better. That's a nice.
This is a piece of apple, and it's got a natural edge.
Put it down, and then I'll turn it up again.
Nice piece.
Finished with super glue. Then I cut a maple tree down a year and a half ago. Here's a piece of spalted maple.
What do you turn on, Joe?
I have a Jack.
Jack, yeah.
The 1221. And I was telling you about a piece of pear that I turned. I was making a box, got the box made, but I was turning it and I was fitting the top to the bottom, and it was too loose. And I was talking to myself, and about that time my wife called me for lunch, and I went up and left the two pieces together. When I went back down, they were tight. It took a month to get them apart. Nobody else has ever done that.
That's wood and water for you.
This is pear.
Nice, nice, nice.
That's all I got.
Thanks very much, Jack.
Thank you.
Mike Lebo,
Well,
what do you
I was going through some old magazines, and I run across a picture of you.
got? Yeah, well, shit like that happens.
You were a lot younger then.
I used to be younger, yeah. I'm afraid I can't help that.
All of us.
Yeah. Let's see. Who'd I say? I pointed at somebody and I forgot who it was already. Bruce Lamb has something. Mike Lebo has something. Let's go to Bruce, and then we'll go
to. I was interested in looking at everyone's pictures of logs, because I spent the winter getting rid of my logs and rough turning a bunch of things, and now it's kind of time to convert them. So I have a couple of bowls that I've got through the process here.
Nice bowl.
This one is about a 9.5 inch by 4 walnut bowl that I think came out really nice, and going to make a nice salad bowl.
What's the finish, Bruce?
That is Mahoney's oil finish, since it's going to be used for food. That's usually what I stick with. The next one is still in the finishing process. I call this trifecta maple. It's spalted, ambrosia, and figured. Wow. But came from a local tree. This one has water locks on it. In their new formulation with the what do I call it? The universal tung oil base with a top coats on it. I'll probably buff it out before it's all done. But the wood is just something special.
Was that difficult to turn, or did it peck up? How was it?
It is definitely a bit punky, and was definitely went to some hand sanding at the end to really get it right. But is just it's one of those things you're wondering, is it too far gone or not? And I think it's not. It's a nice piece. So,
beautiful piece.
Anyway, that's what I got.
Okay.
Did you use the Waterlox water base after the universal tung oil sealer, or did you use standard Waterlox?
The standard Waterlox. I haven't tried the low VOC ones. I kind of used the standard Waterlox for many years, and it's just stuck with it. But I do like the new universal tung oil base. It's lighter in color. It doesn't seem to darken the wood as far. I think it's a little thinner and it penetrates better. And then it doesn't take much of the standard Waterlox as a surface coat to go over that.
I've been using it extensively for about a year now, and it will darken as much as the other ones do eventually.
Oh, that's interesting.
But the water base I've tried extensively, and I'm not sure I like it yet.
Okay, lovely work. How about you, Mike Lebo? You got some stuff?
All right. So Wednesday, a week ago, I went with a friend of mine, and some guy called us and said that he knocked down some cherry trees that had some burls on them. So we went and harvested about 15 burls. And I make boxes, so I don't have big pieces. This is a box that I'm working on. I'm trying to get to the next picture, and it won't get there.
You got to put your cursor on the picture and then go and hit the space bar or something.
Anyway, this is the end of it. And it's a burl. It's cherry.
That's pretty wood. What's
Yeah.
what's the lid going to be?
I'm not sure yet. Something darker, probably, with a finial on it. I've done one of these once before, but all right, can't get there.
Okay, I'm going to kill your share.
Go ahead.
Okay. Doug, you got some pictures from Judy Stone, I think.
I do. I've got them from Judy and from a few other folks as well. So let's just go share screen.
Okay.
Okay. You
There you
talk.
go.
You tell us about it.
Yeah, so I haven't been turning much because I miss Gerald, and it's just not as much fun without Gerald and in our dungeon downstairs instead of his beautiful light shop and his camaraderie. But this is Mark turned out. So Mark took down box elder, and I didn't know that it had beautiful red marking in it. So I tried a couple of pieces. This is the first one, which is just a simple little bowl. Go ahead, Doug.
How big is that, Judy?
And you can see the beautiful red streaking. One article I read yesterday said that you should paint over that so that to retain the color. Use red ink. Next, please. And then I made another one which is not as thin-walled, but has more rounded shape, which I like better. Next.
So I think I only saved
Yeah,
3
yes,
of
that
them,
was it.
Judy.
So 2 shapes, 2 different styles, and finished it with varnish, which I haven't done before, but somebody said that it will retain the red color better with the varnish.
How big are
I'm
those?
just trying to get back into it now.
How big are those, Judy?
Couldn't hear you.
How big are they?
Oh, 3 inches, 4 inches.
Okay.
Tiny.
I also have some here from Mark. If he's on.
He's on.
Yeah, I just needed to unmute. Yeah, so tried playing around with doing a multi-axis turning and making a 3-sided screwdriver handle, which is very, very comfortable. So you can see it there. And see the the layout for the multi-axis turning on the piece on the left.
You made two at a time?
Yeah.
You know, David Ellsworth advocates making your hollowing tools this way so that you can feel in your hand when the orientation of the tool when it's in the wood.
Yeah, a good idea.
I actually done that with just with a two off center as opposed to a 3-center turning.
Yeah, here the screwdriver is on the left, and you can kind of see the shape of the handle better.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's a nice technique.
Yeah, so it's very comfortable, and you can make an oversized handle, so you get more torque, and plus if your hand starts to cramp, it's more comfortable.
And I have
several
nice, Doug.
kits for the screwdrivers years ago and made gifts for my family, and I did that with the 3-lobe handle. They are very comfortable, a lot more torque when you're using them.
Yeah, let me just add that I got the bits from Surplus City. They're just 6-inch long Phillips bits. And there's a Surplus City, I guess over on Route 11 in Carlisle, just east of 81.
I also got some pictures from Dave Delo. Are you on today, Dave?
Yes, I'm here. This is a picture of one of my new toys, the Axminster eccentric chuck, and it was a Christmas present from my daughter-in-law, and so I made her. The first piece that I made from her was a piece of walnut that I had. If you could go to the next slide there, and it's about 7 inches wide, and this is the first piece that I've used it on. I've done other off-center and eccentric type work, you know, like in the previous photographs of just moving center points around in between centers, and done some things with made my own chucks for doing splits into spheres. And but this was the first time I've used a chuck like this, and it was an interesting project, and it came out pretty well.
Dave, where are you?
I'm in Ambridge, Pennsylvania.
And do you belong to a club out there?
Yeah, Turner's Anonymous,
which
here
is
in Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh. And is that a big club?
Yeah, we have, well, before pre-COVID, probably about 100 members, and maybe 50 or 60 showed up at each meeting. And we do meetings online, Zoom meetings on a monthly basis. And I don't know, maybe we have 30 to 35 people participating.
Okay, thank you.
And this is your stash, is it?
This is what I've been working on over the last few months. Through the club, we've had a couple trees come down, and so we've had club days. You know, bring your own chainsaw and cut your own logs. There's some cherry here. There's buckeye, maple, and anyway, I've gotten about there's 110 bowls here that have been done and roughed out in the last few months, and I'm running out of space right now, so I need to get some more racks built. So
what are you going to do with them all, Dave?
I will finish them at some point, but probably some of the larger ones, the cord bowls that I've done, I'll get finished, and I'll probably give away to other club members for if they want to embellish something. We're sort of big on embellishing right now, so we'll just hand them out to whoever wants to do that.
So you're not going to sell these?
No, unless you want to buy them.
I'm just, you know, I get like this sometimes too. I turn a lot of something, and then okay, now what? You know,
yeah.
All my children and all my cousins and all my friends have all the turnings they want, it starts to seem, and what do I do next? I don't want to sell them.
Well, just a suggestion for people to think about. here in Lancaster, if you've got too many bowls or whatever, there's a lot of charities that actually will accept your bowls and use them as fundraisers.
Oh yeah.
So I actually on occasion have done it for the Lancaster Conservancy, which is for the local area wood preservation. So something to think about if you don't do anywhere else. There's a lot of charities that really do appreciate it. And the Lancaster Conservancy has an auction, but they also sometimes just give them away as a thank you for their donors and stuff like that as well, because if you can make them from local wood. So anyway,
yeah, we do things with the wounded warriors at the Vets Hospital up in Butler. So.
John, before you leave this picture, can the novice ask a question here?
Go for it.
I've got all this poplar we talked about before in my backyard. I'm still trying to move it out in the back where I don't have to look at it all summer. And I turned a green piece the other day, and it is so wet. But I'm noticing here, is it better when you're turning it green? Because I'm learning now, I'm putting stuff in paper bags and packing it with shavings and stuff, to use a mortise or a tenon on the back of the bowl, because that's going to take quite a while to dry out. Is it better to have a tenon on it and save it for later?
I'm a tenon guy myself. I would never make a mortise.
Oh, because I like using a mortise, that I've done in the past when the wood is dry, but now it's really green and wet. And I don't know if it changes shape, if it's going to be easier later to put it on, using the tenon and reshape it or not.
Yeah.
You're going to have to put it between centers or put it on a jam chuck to reshape the tenon no matter what you do. So
it doesn't really matter whether it's a mortise or a tenon?
I think that John's comment about the mortise as opposed to or the tenon is better only because it gives you an option later. You can still put a mortise in later if you want to.
I see. Okay. All right. Thank you.
You want to keep in mind whenever you do that, you want to make sure you have a center point in the center when you're roughing it out, so that you can put it back in a jam chuck with that center point, then true up your tenon, and then mount it and return it.
Well, actually, I've left the very small tenon around on where the tailstock side is, and then I cut out a mortise, but I wasn't sure what to do from here, so that's why I'm seeking advice now. So I do have it centered, and I left that piece on right now.
I might add here, I'm a mortise guy and almost never use a tenon. The cross area of a tenon is usually in plank grain, like you get in faceplate work, is much weaker. And as long as you have sufficient diameter around the mortise to get enough hoop strength, they tend to hold better. In a turning class, if I let people do tenons, bowls fly everywhere, and they hold on better with mortises.
Yeah, I find the mortise limits what you can do with the bowl. You've got a hole in the bottom basically, and now I'm likely to make a funnel.
I think this is one thing that you can be sure of, that you cannot get a group to agree on. I am more of a tenon guy as well, but I think the point about retaining your center point is really the important one. That is critical.
I agree.
Yeah, this is a tails first or pins first argument.
Yeah.
Well, I like it with that one too.
Mortise have another advantage. You can drill them with a Forstner bit, and then you only have to put it in the lathe until you're ready to clamp it.
We got time.
Okay,
I'm going to end that share. I think. Doug, you got any more?
No, that's it.
Okay. And I had one more request came in on my chat, and that was Kathy Gower. What do you got, Kathy?
Well, I've been turning 1 year now, and for my 1 year anniversary of turning, I have done.
Oh, wow!
Nice job.
This bandstand mantel clock.
Now, how many turnings are in that?
13.
Phew! Nice work.
You did say 1 year. You didn't.
1 year.
10
I started
years.
turning in January last year.
It take you all year to make, though, did it?
No. I started that. Jeff and I are doing a class not far from here on Mondays every week. And so 1 day a week, I worked on it for 6 weeks. And then I've done some sanding and finishing at home, but it's about 6 weeks of on and off.
Now, is that for yourself or are you going to sell it or give it away?
That's for me.
Okay,
That's on my mantle.
did you sign and date it?
Not yet. I'm going to.
Good.
I'm sure you do.
I have a turning that was made by my great-grandfather. It's dated 1865. And the truth is that you're not dating it for yourself. You're dating it for posterity and for the people later in life when they want some provenance, you might say. They don't want to know where it came from. And that's just beautiful. Somebody's going to value that after you're finished valuing it. So
thank you. Well, I have 3 daughters, so everyone tells me I have to make at least 2 more. So I don't know.
Well, we come to the end of another hour. I want to thank you all for such robust participation today. And if there are people out there who had stuff they wanted to hold up or pictures to show, hold on to them till next week. We'll come around again. Thank you all very much. I'm going to leave the screen open for a little bit of chat for anybody who'd like. I know that Ron and I have a little screen share exercise to go through. So after you all have decided to go away, we'll do that.
Thank you all. Bye now.
Take care, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, John. And everyone.
I enjoy this so much. It's been such fun.